He tells them what God said, and what does the pasuk say this time? V'lo shame'u el Moshe, and they did not listen to Moshe, mikotze ruach u'me'abudah kasha, from a shortness of breath and from back-breaking work. My friends, when a person has life beating them up, when they can't catch their breath, when one thing goes wrong, but before you get back on your feet, you get hit with the deal, and then you find out that you just lost your bonus, and then you find out that they're raising your taxes, and you can't breathe. When there's no revach tasi ben ede le'ede, no space between the groups, what happens? The person, you can't. At that point, the Jewish people, when Moshe came to them and he said, listen, don't worry, it's going to get better. They don't listen, they're not listening, they can't hear. My friends, I want to ask, was it possible for the Jewish people to believe? Was it possible? It was, because they believed before. Why are they not believing now? All the Mefarshim asked this question. If you believed before, you bowed, thank you, wow, Hashem is redeeming us, how come you don't believe now? One answer is because you told them it's going to get better and then it got worse. That's one opinion. The Al-Sheikh HaKadosh says something fascinating. He says, you know why? Because when someone thinks today's going to be horrible, they're ready for a horrible day. But when you think today's going to be a great day, and then it's horrible, that surprise, your heart, vayafag libam, like it says, vayafog, when your heart is ready for something great, and then it goes the exact opposite. That's devastating. That's the Al-Sheikh's answer. But my friends, I want to share something that I believe is really what's going on over here. The same way God was preparing Paro, God was also preparing Moshe. And let me explain. God was preparing the Jews. And let me explain. One of the cornerstones of Emunah is believing in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. How does God get you to believe in Him? By telling you He's going to do something and then doing that thing. When God tells you He's going to do something and then He doesn't do that thing, does that make you believe or not believe? Not believe. If the point of the Makot was to get the Jewish people to believe, why would God do something and then not do it? So we already explained before, Atayadati, because He needed to speed up the work, He needed to cause this doubt in Paro's heart, so Paro would say no, so we'd get through the Makot, different reasons. But from the Jewish people's perspective, God promised something and didn't deliver. But what's very interesting is, it does not say that they did not believe in God. It says that they did not believe in Moshe. Maybe the first time they bowed, because that was HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But the second time it says, V'lo shame'u el Moshe mikotze ruach u'me'abudah kasha. I looked at this pasuk now with new eyes. Maybe what it means is, their belief in Hashem was intact. But you know what? They've been saying for so many years that God promised, when the time comes, pakod yifkod. In fact, it was well known that when the person, the Redeemer would come, those would be the words that He would use. Well, Moshe came in, pakod yifkod, it's going to get better. It doesn't. Lo shame'u el Moshe, not they didn't believe in God, or in God's redemption. They didn't believe that Moshe was the Mashiach. Not out of a lack. You said it's going to get better. It got worse. You're obviously not the Redeemer. Lo shame'u el Moshe. Hashem was preparing two things. The first thing was Hashem was preparing Moshe. Because Moshe thought, from the first time, that's the whole argument between God and Moshe. They're not going to listen. What does Hashem say? What do you mean? I can do anything. I can do anything. I'll give you a mouth. I got it. I can do whatever I want. Don't worry, you're good. So Moshe thinks that his mission is going to be 100% successful. That's the leader that Moshe is prepared to be. So what does God do? He prepares for them a leader that understands that not everything is easy. And that a lot of times, God's plan means that it needs to get worse before it gets better. Moshe had to see that. The Jewish people, in retrospect, needed to be able to see that. And if God is building their base of emunah, you can't just tell people, trust in God, and everything is going to go your way. Because you know what happens? People have a crisis of faith. You told me believe and it'll be good, and I believed and they weren't good. I believed and they didn't have a refuah shlema. I believed and I didn't get parnasah and I didn't get married. So what are you talking about? The answer is, emunah doesn't believe everything goes your way. Emunah means that when things happen to you, whatever they are for your best. That's not the same thing. That's not the same thing. So the first thing God needed to do was teach Moshe and the Jewish people this principle. My friends, in the same way, was teach Moshe and the Jewish people this principle. My friends, in the same way that God, in that moment, hardened Paro's heart, so he could not say yes, he was also hardening our hearts, making our hearts strong, our hearts resilient. Moshe Rabbeinu becomes a leader that even when the Jewish people push him away, even when the Jewish people don't listen, even when the Jewish people don't do the right thing, Moshe keeps coming back for more. When did he learn that? Here. I want to ask you this question could you see that?